everyone, hope you're doing well. Today it is nice to see another devblog for War Thunder, and what this devblog is for a new Squadron vehicle. Yes, the Shimakaze is coming to the game, as many of you wonderful Japanese naval players will be looking forward to. This is a vessel that I've been looking forward to for a long time, mainly because of its impact that it's going to have on the game, and also because of the fact that it is at least incredibly well known. But it is coming in, as I said, as a Squadron vehicle. So this is another vehicle that will be in the game that you can be able to research with Squadron RP. Now, one thing I would like to say is there is a few squadrons that are affiliated, at least with me. So there is Tech ES, Tech WS, and Tech FS, and all of them do get the maximum amount of research or squadron research every 3 days, which is 20k. If you are interested personally in joining the squadrons, the best place to go to is the Tech Hub Discord. You can find a link in the description, and then in the FAQ there, it explains how you would be able to join them. So yeah, that is basically it. If you are interested, make sure to come along. So let's talk about the Shimakaze, let's talk about what it is, and also a bit of its history. So this machine was ordered in 1939 as a prototype, and it was going to be the future Type C destroyers, basically. That was going to be what it was going to show. And there were 16 of these planned for construction. The basic design of it was based off the Kagero destroyer, and the Shimakaze incorporated a new high-performance turbine and 3 quintuple 61 centimeter torpedo launchers. So this thing had 15 torpedo launchers on it, which is just ridiculous to think about, comparing it to, you know, other machines. And also it would have slightly larger dimensions and displacement as a result of this, so having this extra torpedo armament. It was laid down in August of 1941 and completed in May of 1943, and was assigned to the 1st IGN fleet upon its commission. And then Shimakaze's early service career was marked by taking part in the evacuation of Japanese troops from the Aleutian Islands, which is actually a map which I believe just got added to the game, didn't it? Kind of interesting. In July and August, as well as escort duties until the end of the year and into early 1944. And then after undergoing brief refitting in March 1944, just like a lot of machines did around that time for Japan, for America, for pretty much everybody, because everybody realized the threat of aircraft, so therefore it was time to smash as many AA guns on these things as possible. Shimakaze escorted the battleship Musashi and also the heavy cruiser Maya from Kure to Manila. And subsequently, Shimakaze was once again ordered to Kure to undergo another refit, in which her anti-air armament was increased. And then in October 1944, Shimakaze formally took part in the Battle of Leyte Gulf. She didn't actually see any action, as the ship was loaded with survivors picked up from the sunken Musashi and the Maya. And then in November, Shimakaze was assigned to escort a troop convoy from Manila to Ormoc, and later being attacked by American aircraft in the Battle of Ormoc Bay. And Shimakaze was severely damaged during the battle, only to explode and sink several hours later. So you can see that this machine, even though it was a prototype design, it was used a lot during World War II by the Japanese. Has quite a long service record of at least a few years before being annihilated by, of course, the aircraft of America, which was the fate, let's just say, of a lot of ships back then. When it came to the Japanese. So, what's interesting about this vehicle? Well, generally you see with stuff like the Udachi, which of course was an event vehicle before, you know, you have machines like the Yugamo, you have all of those other destroyers, even the Matsuki, if you want to put it in there. When you look at a lot of these vehicles, they have pretty similar traits, and the Shimakaze has pretty similar traits as well, but it does have that extra torpedo armament. So first of all, this Japanese destroyer has two twin sets of 5-inch guns, one on the front that you can see here, and then it also has one on the back, which you can see here. So its primary armament isn't really its guns. Its primary armament is its torpedoes, basically. So with the two twin 5 inches, at least you will be able to do some damage. You know, you'll be able to kill PT boats and battle boats and stuff, and you'll still be able to put out damage towards other destroyers. But for 127s, with the reload that they have, I don't think that is ideal, especially since the majority of other Japanese ships that you could be using at this level would have, you know, at least 30% more guns on them, you know, in the form of, you know, another dual turret. So having the 4 guns is kind of nice, but at the same time, you're going to lack firepower compared to a lot of other stuff. The guns themselves, they have quite a slow reload compared to some of their competition, but when they hit hard. You know, they have a lot of HE filler, they do a lot of damage. So yeah, I really like the 127s from the Japanese, and nice to see them on this plane once again. The other thing to also notice when it comes to Shimakaze is in the AA role, it has a total of 14 25mm cannons. These are split into 1 twin and 4 triple turrets. So the 25mm in War Thunder, I've always found them a little bit weak, if I'm honest with you. I feel like when they fire upon enemies, they fire a little bit too late, and therefore what happens is the bombers or the fighters with bombs that come in always seem to either trade efficiently with the destroyer, or they seem to just be able to nuke the destroyer before the AA armament turns on. Hopefully this has been fixed recently. Unfortunately, I haven't, you know, played naval in a little bit, but I'm sure there is something, you know, there which will have helped. Now, the place that this machine differs compared to all of the other machines that we've seen when it comes to the Japanese Navy is obviously the torpedo armament. The torpedo armament is the largest torpedo armament of any World War II era destroyer in history, having 3 quintuple sets of torpedo tubes. So 15 in total is just insanity when you think about this. You can see them all here. They're mounted in the center of the ship. So if you want to take them out, make sure to shoot the center of the ship where the engines are. But being able to fire 15 long-lance torpedoes. If you've never used long-lance torpedoes, so long-lance torpedoes in War Thunder are the best torpedoes in the game. Long lances have incredible speed, and the main thing is they have incredible range. They have 20-kilometer ranges to them, where most destroyers have even half of that, you know. So 20 kilometers will go through the majority of maps, and having 15 torpedoes, you will be able to spray the enemy. You know, it's going to be very difficult for a lot of destroyers to even get close to a machine like this. And even stuff like cruisers and things, if you think about that, if you're in an open body of water in Air Arcade and you could just keep spamming out torpedoes, my god, the Shimakaze is going to mean that is going to be kind of crazy. Now, a lot of destroyers for Japan and also a lot of their cruisers, they have like a second reload of torpedoes as well. The Shimakaze doesn't, so you are stuck with 15 torpedoes as your maximum. That's still 15 torpedoes. That's still a lot of torpedoes that you can get out there. So yeah, it's kind of insane. And then on top of that as well, one of the things that this has, because of its, you know, prototype status, we talked about that steam turbine propulsion system before. It's incredibly high performance. It has a horsepower of 79,000 basically, and that means it can get up to a top speed of 40.9 knots or 75.7 kilometers an hour. So this makes it the second fastest destroyer in game. So it's the destroyer with the most deadliest torpedoes and also the fastest in game. This is turning out to be a wonderful machine when it comes to a squadron vehicle, if you are interested in naval. Very similar to the PR-35 for the Sovietry, where it's actually incredibly good at very specific things. It looks like the Shimakaze is going to be the same way. So it's not going to be very survivable. You know, it won't have extra armor. It's obviously going to have quite a large ammo rack in the center with all the torpedoes, and also once the engines are taken out, and also the lack of main battery firepower. But it has a ton of torpedoes, and it's fast as all hell. So this thing is going to cause a lot of issues, I think, when it comes to War Thunder. One of the big things for me in Naval Arcade is you do get torpedo reloads, you know, which is really, really nice. And the Japanese ships are kind of broken on the convoy mission maps, because basically what happens is they are able to drop all their torpedoes in the open water looking at the convoys, and then they just reload and then do it again. The Shimakaze is going to be absolutely crazy for that. If you ever see this thing in open water and it has a direct line from him or her to your spawn, you need to get out of there quickly, because if they're like splaying the torpedoes properly, then my god, is this going to be an annoying thing to face. The other thing they talk about is the enduring confrontation. The fact that, you know, a lot of enduring confrontation starts at longer ranges to fight from. This thing is going to be pretty ridiculous in enduring confrontation at dictating the battlefield, because of the fact that it can fire 15 of these 20-kilometer torpedoes. I tell you what, this thing could be game-breaking, at least in arcade. We'll have to see. But it's something I've been worried about for a while, and I'm glad that they're testing it now. Because there is another machine, another cruiser, which could sometimes get added to the Japanese, which would be even deadlier when it comes to its torpedo armament than this. But maybe in the future we'll be discussing that. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Trigger Hippie, Universe, Conte Baraka, Elove Goat, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Hans, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.